responsibility to preserve it. We are NTD.
Welcome to NTD Newsroom. I'm Don Ma. President Trump pardoning Thanksgiving turkeys at the White House. Turkeys gobble and waddle, enjoy their lucky day. The U.S. and Russia holding peace talks in Abu Dhabi today. What the White House says about the fast-developing peace process. What is the cause of skyrocketing Obamacare premiums, and how do we fix the problem? We have a discussion with an expert. President Trump could announce the next Federal Reserve chair before Christmas. More on Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's comments. The Trump administration launches a new civility campaign. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says he sees a degradation in civility. The Saks Fifth Avenue Light Show returned this holiday season. People came out in decent numbers, packing the street to check it out.
This is NTD Newsroom, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. President Trump and First Lady Melania participate in the Thanksgiving turkey pardoning ceremony at the White House today. Here's the president at this beloved American tradition.
Are you ready? Gobble. I just want to tell you this, very important. You are hereby unconditionally pardoned. That's nice. I don't want to harm this beautiful bird.
The two turkeys spared from the dinner table this year are named Waddle and Gobble. They weigh over 50 pounds each and come from North Carolina. Trump joked that because President Biden used an auto pen to pardon turkeys last year, the pardons were invalid, but he is repardoning Peach and Blossom anyway. The president also announced updates on peace negotiations in the Russia-Ukraine war.
And we're working on that final war. It's not easy, but I don't know. I think we're going to get there. 25,000 soldiers, Ukraine, Russia. In the last month, 25,000 soldiers have died. So I think we're getting very close to a deal. We'll find out. I thought that one would have been gone quicker. We did 8. I thought that would have been an easier one, but I think we're making progress. In less than 1 year.
Trump touted that Thanksgiving costs will be lower this year. He hopes all Americans can enjoy Thanksgiving with family and friends and renew their faith in God. The president thanked God for the success of the country. He also thanked the First Lady and the armed forces. Trump plans to fly to his Florida resort later today to celebrate Thanksgiving. The U.S. and Russia holding peace talks in Abu Dhabi today amid the attacks in Ukraine, and President Zelensky wants to meet President Trump as soon as possible, possibly over Thanksgiving, to finalize a joint U.S.-Ukraine agreement on the terms for ending the war. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says, quote, "Over the past week, the United States has made tremendous progress towards a peace deal by bringing both Ukraine and Russia to the table. There are a few delicate but not insurmountable details that must be sorted out and will require further talks. The exact nature of today's discussions between the U.S. and Russia was not immediately clear." Ukraine, meanwhile, praises a peace proposal drafted in Geneva on Sunday, saying, quote, "We look forward to organizing a visit of Ukraine's president to the U.S. at the earliest suitable date in November to complete final steps and make a deal with President Trump." Ukraine says it is coming under another intense wave of Russian missile and drone strikes as both sides hit targets across the border. Ukraine says Russia launched a massive overnight barrage, killing at least 7 people and hitting residential buildings and energy facilities. Officials in Kyiv say multiple districts were struck, with fires in high-rise buildings and a second wave of missiles triggering early morning sirens. Russia says Ukraine also carried out deadly strikes, including the attacks on the southern region of Rostov. 3 people were killed and several others injured. As China-Japan tensions continue to heat up, Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi spoke with President Trump today. NTD's Daniel Monahan has more on their phone call, the pair's first conversation since Japan's comments on potentially defending Taiwan, which sparked a dispute with the Chinese regime.
Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi said she spoke with Trump at his request.
I thanked him for sending me a copy of an American newspaper reporting his recent visit to Japan with his autograph, and valued America's initiative towards peace in Ukraine.
Takaichi described the call as another opportunity to reaffirm close cooperation between Japan and the United States.
President Trump said we are extremely close friends and happy to receive a phone call anytime.
China said Sunday that Japan crossed a red line after Takaichi suggested a Chinese attack on Taiwan could trigger a military response from Tokyo. A Japanese government spokesperson said Japan must firmly refute China's claims. Returning to the call, Takaichi said Trump briefed her on the latest in U.S.-China relations,
including last night's phone call between the two leaders. He also asked about the G20 summit, which I attended.
Takaichi was talking about the conversation Trump had with Chinese Communist leader Xi Jinping yesterday. Trump wrote on Truth Social that he discussed many topics with Xi, including the Russia-Ukraine conflict and fentanyl. Trump also said he had accepted Xi's invitation to visit Beijing in April, while Xi will make a state visit to the United States later in the year. Trump raised soybean and other farm product concerns with the communist leader as well. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said yesterday the Trump administration expects to announce an aid package for U.S. farmers within 2 weeks, speaking on CNBC.
The president always said he would take care of the farmers. They have been with him since he came down the escalator just a few blocks from here in 2015 and began this next chapter.
U.S. farmers lost billions this year as top buyer China turned to Brazil and Argentina amid tense trade talks with Washington. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says there's a very good chance President Trump will announce his next pick for the Federal Reserve chair before Christmas. Bessent is leading the search to replace Jerome Powell when his term ends in May 2026. He discussed the complexity of the job on CNBC.
The Fed has become this very complicated operation. It's no longer just a price setting of money. There's this very complicated calculus between the monetary policy, the balance sheet, and regulatory policy.
Trump has repeatedly criticized the Fed and recently said he'd love to fire Powell, even joking to Bessent to fix it fast or be fired himself. Bessent downplayed the remark, saying that the president was joking. Powell, meanwhile, is navigating a divided Federal Open Market Committee, with markets expecting yet another rate cut in December. U.S. sales at retailers rose slightly in September. It was the fourth straight month of gains. According to the Commerce Department data released today, sales rose 0.2% in September from the previous month. That is much lower than the 0.6% rise in August. The September report was delayed more than a month because of the government shutdown. Retail sales make up about a third of all consumer spending. In September, employers added jobs at a strong pace. Employment ticked up slightly but stayed low. Low unemployment and a strong stock market helped boost spending. Congress is now debating an extension to the temporary tax credits for Obamacare. Joining us to discuss is Tony Kinnett, national correspondent at the Daily Signal and host of the Tony Kinnett Cast radio show and podcast. So, Tony, good to have you here. Some numbers here. Obama premiums had already doubled since 2013, and by 2025, they were up nearly 133%. So what do you say about this? What is the fundamental cause?
Well, the fundamental cause, Don, good afternoon to you, is that the system was broken from the offset. The very framers of Obamacare, those legal analysts they pulled together to write the original Affordability Care Act options, admitted that it was doomed to fail from the start. There are those who believe there were political motives. There are some who just said that it was a kind of halfway between corporatist and socialist policy gone wrong. The fact of the matter is it didn't work for Americans. We were told it was going to be amazing, and it has failed and has needed to be propped up by bigger and bigger subsidies. So the question becomes, are we just going to subsidize it from now into eternity and therefore drive the cost to American taxpayers? Or Are we going to reframe an entirely new system? Somewhere in the middle of that, Don, is the question is how do you limp America off of the Affordability Care Act, the Obamacare system? You have to do it one way or another, because if you just cut it off, it's a big rug pull, let's say, then it's going to cause some severe dyspepsia in the market. And most importantly, those who don't spend their days paying attention to this 24/7 in news coverage, they're not going to know until their coverage has expired and they need medical care right away. So this has to be done with a scalpel, maybe more than a sledgehammer.
So, Tony, could you just address one argument here? Could the reason for the rise in cost in Obamacare premiums because of already high pharmaceutical prices and overall inflation in the healthcare sector?
I think that in a way that if your leg was broken, you might also have a stubbed toe. Yeah, sure, rising costs in pharmaceuticals could be a considerable issue. But the main issue is that the Obamacare subsidies are directly funding insurance companies. So they can just send the premiums higher and higher and higher. After all, your client's not going to pay those premiums. The insurance company is going to pay those premiums or request those premiums paid by the federal government. And so if you are, let's just pick a random insurance company out of thin air, Cigna, for example, Cigna will take a claim and they will say, well, you're on the Affordability Care Act, so therefore we will charge the government $4,000, where if perhaps that I was brokering one-on-one with Cigna, again, I'm just picking a random insurance company, I'm not saying anything about Cigna, just the first one that popped into my mind, then there would be a lower price negotiated. So this is one of the ways and reasons why the Trump administration is currently looking at health savings accounts and funding the employer provider of healthcare or Americans themselves directly for going into that insurer market. When you have a middleman, the middleman tends to do what all middlemen do. That's up the cost both ways, because after all, they're doing the facilitating. So why wouldn't they charge more?
So Tony, can you just talk a bit more on what customers are getting out of this? How much choice does Obamacare provide to patients? And what about the health outcomes compared to private insurance?
So great question. The different sections and slivers of the Affordability Care Act, the different tiers in the model, don't provide the best care. In fact, there are those who can't get doctors that they had before the Obamacare, which again is ironic considering the if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor lie. Of course, there's a system of care that link insurance networks to certain care facilities. For example, because of the reframing of the insurance market that came about as of Obamacare, even not being on the Affordability Care Act myself, I now have to travel dozens of miles just to get certain kinds of blood work done. And those who are glued to the Affordability Care Act program, they're lucky if, again, out in the Western United States, if they can even find care in their county or their section of the state, their congressional district, for crying out loud. So when we're looking at the reforming of the healthcare system in the United States, understanding that government subsidized programs have resulted in less choice, as they always have for every program throughout history. They've resulted in less efficiency, and therefore they have resulted in a lower standard of care. We can see this from the UK to Canada. Throwing government money at something is how you end up getting toilets that cost $45,000 and a nail that costs upwards of $3,000.
So Tony, you talked about indefinitely subsidizing the program. Some more numbers here for you and our viewers. So subsidies have climbed to an estimated $138 billion per year. And on top of that, 80% of people are just paying $10 a month. So, I mean, how sustainable is this in the long term?
It's not, because again, as costs continue to rise, as insurance companies continue to eat up subsidization money, which, by the way, I don't care what industry you're talking about, this is always how subsidization works. Especially, we've seen this in military contracting or governmental construction contracting. That's what I was alluding to earlier with the expensive toilets, or a scandal from the early 90s, the expensive hammers and nails of the early aughts and the late 90s. The idea that the subsidization can ever get smaller naturally has never occurred before. And so it has skyrocketed. You see this exponential curve on the chart of subsidization money funneling into the Affordability Care Act for more and more people to sit in that and only pay $10 a month. It's an incredible tax burden, but more so, it is a major hamper on the industries themselves, because you're slowing down efficiency, which also compounds how expensive something is. So filling out 236 forms so that you're government compliant, you've paid $10. The system is being taxpayer funded out the wazoo. It's horribly ineffective and harmful for Americans.
So Tony, I just want to end this conversation with potential solutions here. Do you think we should try to mend Obamacare's shortcomings, or should we replace it completely? What are the options?
I mean, the honest answer is if it's worth doing right. We actually need to see a system in which the government deregulates the healthcare market, in which case I'm able to actually go and broker a price between my local doctor, between my insurer. There's no reason that in several states around this country, nurse practitioners need a doctor to look over their shoulder to provide acceptable care. You could deregulate a lot of this and get the middlemen out, and then there wouldn't be a need for heavy subsidization. There should be tax breaks for health savings accounts for individuals who are spending money towards their healthcare expenses. These are common sense fixes that we have seen work in other countries around the world. I do think we're going to have to stair step off of this, just coming from the education field and science fields myself. When you cut a government program, you need to relax and phase out the program. Otherwise, you rug pull the people who are on it, who, given that it's a healthcare program, may not be in the best mental or physical state to readily change to a brand new program right off the bat. If you're going through a major series of surgeries and your healthcare suddenly ends, a rug pull is not the best option. A phase out's more, humanitarian, for crying out loud.
Well, all right, Tony, well said. Good to speak with you today. Thank you.
Don, always a pleasure.
It's been more than 50 days since the Trump administration deployed the Memphis Safe Task Force, and officials say it's making a big difference. We have more news after this break.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get our MyPillow bed sheets, only $29.88. Any color, any style, any size, even kings, regular $119.98, only $29.88. Once they're gone for good. How about our My Towels? They're finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first time and the only time ever, get our limited edition premium My Pillows. They're made with Giza cotton and designer gusset. Queen $17.98, Kings only $19.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now.
Picture this, the heart of Manhattan, full of energy, movement, and life. Now imagine bringing that same vitality into your home with trusted health insights for your body, mind, and soul. Every week, Vital Signs dives into health issues that matter the most. The foods that strengthen your immune system, the exercises that keep you moving, the mindfulness practices that calm your mind, plus expert advice from doctors and health leaders you can trust. This isn't just another health show. It's real insight designed to keep you informed, inspired, and in motion. So whether you're starting your day with focus or winding down with balance, Vital Signs brings health and vitality straight into your living room.
According to ancient Chinese medicine, purslane is considered a medicinal herb and is used to help lower cholesterol, improve vascular functions, and prevent diabetes. Perilla seeds can nourish the lungs and spleen. It is used to treat asthma and improve pulmonary functions. Puritang green vegetable omega-3 is made from purslane and perilla seeds from Hwangmae Mountain in South Korea. It contains over 90% of omega-3, 6, 7, and 9. The highest concentration possible without chemical additives. The soft gel is made of natural seaweed. It is 100% organic and vegan. Both adults and children can take it with peace of mind. Ancient recipes were passed down from heaven to bring prosperity and longevity. Puritang green vegetable omega-3.
It's been more than 50 days since the Trump administration deployed the Memphis Safe Task Force, and officials say it's making a big difference. At a news conference yesterday, Attorney General Pam Bondi, along with Tennessee officials, touted a significant drop in crime. Here are the details.
Memphis has spent years struggling with one of the highest violent crime rates in the nation, but leaders say a federal surge launched 2 months ago is producing dramatic results. Attorney General Pam Bondi says crime in the city has plummeted since President Trump ordered federal agencies to assist local law enforcement. Bondi says the new Memphis Safe Task Force, made up of more than 30 federal, state, and local agencies, is achieving results that would have been unthinkable just months ago.
The last 56 days that we have had this surge, compared to the same 56-day time period a year ago, shows murder is down 48% in just 56 days, sexual assault down 49%, robbery down 61%, overall serious crime down 45% here in Memphis.
Bondi says more than 3,000 arrests have been made and over 500 guns taken off the streets. The task force says one of the most significant outcomes, the recovery of over 120 missing or endangered children.
How remarkable is that, huh? 121 children and teens back home with their parents and guardians. No longer on the streets or in danger.
Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Scott Turner also announced a new hotline for residents in public housing, on which they can report criminals, illegal immigrants, sex offenders, human traffickers, and gang activity.
Protect your home. Protect your family. If you see it, if you hear about it, report it. And here's how. You can call 1-800-347-3735.
Tennessee Governor Bill Lee described what's happening as an example for the rest of the country.
Murder rates cut in half and crime rates in Memphis at their lowest level in 20 years. This is an example of what can happen when people set aside all their differences and focus on the people of Memphis, Tennessee.
But not everyone supports the task force. Critics say it intimidates law-abiding Latinos and that poor planning has left courts and the local jail overwhelmed by the increase in arrests. Still, supporters insist that after years of rising crime, Memphis is finally seeing a positive shift and say the mission now is to sustain it.
The U.S. is ending temporary protected status for Burmese nationals, citing improvements in the country's stability and governance.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said yesterday that Burma, also known as Myanmar, has ended its state of emergency, is planning free and fair elections, and has established successful ceasefire agreements. Roughly 3,000 Burmese nationals now have until January 26 to return, in line with Homeland Security's 60-day transition period. The DHS said conditions no longer meet the standards for temporary protected status and determined that extending protections is not in the national interest. Human Rights Watch and other groups are criticizing the move, warning that Burma remains unstable and that planned elections are fraudulent. The decision reverses earlier extensions granted under Burma's 2021 military coup, which left the country in civil conflict.
Now to California, where U.S. Representative and newly declared candidate for governor Eric Swalwell wants to give residents another way to vote. He's pushing for voting by phone amid a competitive race to replace Governor Gavin Newsom. NTD's Christina Corona tells us more.
Democratic Representative Eric Swalwell, who announced his bid for California governor last week, says he wants voters to be able to cast their ballots using their phones. He discussed the idea on CNN's The Story Is with Elex Michelson on Saturday.
I want us to be able to vote by phone. I think every Californian vote by phone. Yeah, if we can do our taxes, do our, make our healthcare appointments, make essentially do your banking online, you should be able to vote by phone.
Swalwell said he wants California to aim higher than simply doing a little better than Republican-led states when it comes to voting.
I want us to be a blue state that doesn't do just a little bit better than like Georgia or Alabama when it comes to like voting access. I want us to max out democracy. Also, as it relates to democracy, if you wait in line for 30 minutes or more, if you do want to vote in person, I think you should fine every county for every minute that a person has to wait longer.
He also said he wants to modernize California's Department of Motor Vehicles so people no longer have to make in-person visits. The race to replace Governor Gavin Newsom is already crowded. On the Democratic side, candidates include Representatives Eric Swalwell and Katie Porter, former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, former State Controller Betty Yee, former School Superintendent Tony Thurman, attorney and former Health Secretary Javier Becerra, billionaire Tom Steyer, and former Majority Leader Ian Calderon. Several candidates are facing controversies. Porter has faced backlash after a viral interview and a past video showing her scolding a staffer. Becerra's campaign is under scrutiny after a longtime aide used a campaign account to boost their own pay, although Becerra himself is not accused of wrongdoing. On the Republican side, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, former Fox commentator Steve Hilton, and businessman Leo Zaki are aiming to secure one of the top 2 spots for the November election. In California, the top 2 candidates move on to the November election no matter their party. With so many candidates, they could advance with just over 20% of the vote. A Republican hasn't won a statewide race in nearly 2 decades. The last time was in 2006 when Arnold Schwarzenegger was re-elected governor. Christina Corona, NTD News.
Former Democratic Senator Doug Jones is running for governor of Alabama. He made the announcement yesterday. Jones is best known for his high-profile win over Republican Roy Moore in 2017. Jones was the first Democrat to win a Senate seat in Alabama in decades. If Jones wins the primary, it could possibly set up a rematch with Senator Tommy Tuberville, who has already entered the race. Tuberville, an ally of President Trump, beat Jones by 20 points in 2020. The White House is denying reports the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, no longer exists. A Reuters report quoted the director of the Office of Personnel Management, Scott Cooper, as saying DOGE doesn't exist, with 8 months left before its official disbandment.
In a post on X, Cooper disputed the Reuters headline that DOGE is non-existent and suggested it was misleading. The White House says its mission to reduce fraud, waste, and abuse across federal agencies continues. Cooper added that while DOGE may lack centralized leadership, its principles, deregulation, workforce reform, and efficiency, remain active within government operations. DOGE previously included Elon Musk as its leader and was involved in high-profile actions, including closing USAID and terminating wasteful contracts. The task force is set to remain active through July 2026. It will continue updates on its projects, including nearly $2 billion in contracts that ended recently.
A powerful tornado has left more than 100 homes damaged in Harris County, Texas. The tornado tore through the community outside Houston yesterday, spewing debris across the entire neighborhood.
Despite the devastation, officials say there have been no reported deaths or serious injuries. Drone footage shows rooftops torn away and debris blocking roads across the storm-stricken communities. Emergency work, toothpicks and the roof and back wall being ripped off an emergency services and maintenance building. First responders continued rescue and recovery efforts while residents were urged to avoid travel amid downed power lines and widespread debris. The National Weather Service issued a tornado watch across southern Texas until late last night as storms swept across the region.
The Trump administration launches a new civility campaign. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says he sees a degradation in civility. Stay tuned for more news after this break.
There is a road laid out for me.
Boxes everywhere. And this is going to be Addie's room.
I am blind,
I think you're really going to like it.
I hope so. Yeah. I know this road is there for me. There is a long way.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
You ways down by the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
I got this.
I know it's there for me.
Okay.
If I'm really free, take me down to the river and wash me.
We come from a long line of farmers, and there's a sense of pride with being part of these multi-generational businesses. But there's also a significant amount of pressure. My senior year of high school, my dad made the decision that this world no longer needed him in it. I don't know if he was overwhelmed by the bills and checks that weren't going to be coming in because of the strawberries dying off, but it breaks my heart that my dad made a permanent decision for a temporary issue. Don't feel like you have to go through it alone.
Farmers have to take care of their physical and their mental health, because what's a farm without a farmer?
In the mornings, that's my time. Watching the sun come up, I can have a cup of coffee and exercise if I want to. It helps me start the day with a sense of gratitude.
Yay!
Every day is a new opportunity. Don't forget to check in on yourself. Love, your mind.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Today is the start of the Thanksgiving travel period. GasBuddy says drivers should see reasonable prices at the pump. And the FAA says air travelers should benefit from air traffic control operations recovering from the government shutdown. Here's a look.
Thanksgiving travel is taking off. AAA forecasts a record-setting holiday period between today and Monday. AAA projects almost 82 million people will venture at least 50 miles from home. That would be last year's record. The association predicts almost 90% of people will drive, about 6 million will fly, and less than half that will choose other transportation. The FAA expects the 2025 Thanksgiving holiday period to be the busiest for air travel in 15 years, with today projected to have the most flights and
Thanksgiving week and Christmas week as well typically do see higher disruption rates.
Some issues are already coming up. The FAA says a problem with an air traffic control frequency caused a ground stop in Dallas yesterday. Near Seattle, a pipeline leak is limiting jet fuel supplies.
Her flight got rerouted and delayed. She has to take a stop in Alaska because of the fuel line thing. That was very inconvenient. I mean, she has to be on a flight for an extra 6 hours or something.
As air travelers plan for possible disruptions,
come fly with me, let's fly away.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is trying to restore courtesy and class to air travel with this new campaign.
Let's bring civility and manners back. Ask yourself, are you helping a pregnant woman put her bag in the overhead bin? Are you dressing with respect? Are you keeping control of your children? The golden age of travel begins with you.
To make air travel smoother and more pleasant ahead of the holidays, transportation officials are talking about the golden age of travel. NTD's David Lam has more.
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
That's the start of the Transportation Department's new civility campaign called The Golden Age of Travel Starts With You, comparing air travel from back in the day to today in a 1.5-minute video.
Let's bring civility and manners back. Ask yourself, are you helping a pregnant woman put her bag in the overhead bin? Are you dressing with respect? Are you keeping control of your children? The golden age of travel begins with you.
The campaign is intended to restore courtesy and class to air travel.
For us, this week is our Super Bowl, and I'm here to tell you we've got a great plan. We're past the lapse, controllers are back at work, and of course we hope we have everyone treating one another with respect, so follow the golden rule. I will tell you, however, that we will not hesitate to utilize our enforcement authorities if anyone is causing any problems in the airport or on aircraft.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says manners don't stop at the gate and things aren't as they used to be. The Transportation Department says that since 2019, the FAA has seen a 400% increase of in-flight outbursts. In 2021, there were almost 14,000 incidents regarding unruly passengers, where 1 in 5 flight attendants experienced physical incidents.
How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? We should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better.
Flight restrictions have also been rolled back. The department is building a new air traffic control system, boosting air traffic control hiring through its academy, and trying to make travel more family-friendly. The FAA expects the 2025 Thanksgiving holiday period to be the busiest for air travel in 15 years. David Lamb, NTD News.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy launched a civility campaign aimed at bringing civility and courtesy back in America. To discuss, we have Jeffrey Tucker, founder and president of the Brownstone Institute and senior columnist at the Epoch Times. So Jeffrey, always great to see you here. So what do you think? Secretary Sean Duffy says he sees a degradation in civility. He was referring to air traffic, or rather air travelers. But do you think it goes beyond just airports?
Well, certainly it's not in our imagination. The whole world has become coarser and more degraded over the last 5 years, I would say. Maybe it goes back longer. I don't know. The good news is that there is something you can do about this. You can dress up when you go to the airport to fly in a plane. And I'm telling you, I do this every time, and I don't understand why people are not doing it. It's the magic trick. I mean, to walk, your Uber driver treats you better. When you walk into the airport, the TSA will be nicer to you. When you get on the plane, other customers will smile at you and thank you. And the best moment comes when you get on the plane and the flight attendants look at you and say, "Thank you for dressing up. You look fantastic today." And they smile at you. And if you have a problem with your bag, they're going to help you. They're going to go out of the way to help you. And just these little tiny favors come to you simply because you are showing them respect. It's not about showing off your clothes. It's about showing respect for the institutions and the people who work for the institutions. And this is a magic trick that anybody can use. Instead of showing up in your pajamas looking like a slob, wearing your worst because you want to be comfortable. No, you dress up. Well, on the dress point in particular, people imagine that how they dress is all about themselves. This is completely wrong. It's about what you are saying about other people. It's about the amount of respect you have for other people. So you need to forget about yourself, and you're not the most important thing in the world. What really matters is what you, in your power, are saying about others. And if you're deferring to others and using decent manners, you will find that you will be personally treated better. And I learned this secret a long time ago. Ultimately, it redounds to your benefit. Because when you travel especially, you are kind of in a position of depending on the kindness of strangers, whether it's getting a good seat at the restaurant you're going to, being served well, being told about the specials. You might be able to even get a free drink, on the airline, which I'm sorry, it happens to me. Or when you have to get an instruction about like put your seatbelt on or whatever. It will be said in a way that's pleasant instead of mean. And the other thing is that when you're getting on an airplane or getting off an airplane, if you see anyone having trouble with their bag, just reach up and help them a little bit. I mean, it's these kind of small kindnesses that just make the world a better place, and it spreads and spreads and spreads. And the opposite is true. I mean, the more degraded the culture gets, the more people feel like there's no reason to bother. We might as well just look after ourselves and rush past everybody and then not be mean to people and complain about everything. And that kind of attitude spreads also. So what I'm saying is to all the people who are listening to this interview right now, it really does just start with you. You can make the world more civil, more beautiful, more enjoyable, and happier just by your own actions, your own behaviors. Reflect on what your mom or your grandmother taught you and adopt this in your own life. And yeah, okay, people could be mean to you still, but brush it off and move on. Like, see yourself on a mission from God, if you want, to make the world a better place. It's within your capacity and the choices that you make, whether we're going to inhabit a beautiful civilized life that's enjoyable for everybody or participate in the degradation. I think everybody really wants to live in a good society, really. I think we all do, in which case we all need to do our part, especially during the holiday season.
It starts with you. So simple and yet such wise advice, Jeffrey. Can we get a comment as well on this initiative, civility campaign? What role does the government play in this?
Oh, I don't know if there's anything government can do to make us more civil, but I think it helps when cabinet officials and other officials in the government are urging people to smile, be nice, to dress up. I mean, it's a good thing, right? I mean, sometimes this stuff does actually flow down from the top, not by force, but just by inspiration and by urging. And like we absolutely have to fix this now. We've been through too much as a nation over too many years and seen where it's gotten us, to a coarser, angrier world of nonstop complaints. The thing that you find is that when you get in the habit of complaining, it becomes strangely addictive. You can't do anything else. Everybody should just try and experiment some one day. Wake up and say, today I'm not going to complain about anything. And every time you do complain, just pinch yourself or something, or write it down on a piece of paper. You will find you will complain less. And then if you hear yourself complain less or think fewer complaints, you will become a happier person. Yes, there are frustrations. Yes, there are things that break. Yes, there are things you have to clean up. There's certain things that divert you from your preferred course. But in those moments, thank God for the gift of life and for the use of your hands and for the use of your mental powers to fix things, to act to improve your own world, whether you're alone in your house or apartment, or traveling with others. There are ways, things that are within you, within your power, to make the world a more beautiful place. Thank God for the beautiful, magical, mysterious gift of life every day and every minute, and use it to the betterment of your fellow man and yourself and the world around you. Instead of just constantly complaining about the state of the world, make some effort to make a difference, and you will inspire other people to do the same. I promise you, and that's great. It's great because you will have an impact on the world, and you'll see how your behavior and your mental outlook actually spreads throughout the entire culture. This is how you make the world a more beautiful place.
So you said complaining is addictive. I would argue the opposite is actually true as well, in the sense that if you're more nice more often, it can be also addictive as well. Okay, so I want to move on to your article that you wrote on the Epoch Times newspaper titled America and the Spirit of Respect. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that? What would you say is the biggest difference between Americans now and the Americans generations before?
Yeah, so that is, I think, the opening chapter of this book called The Spirits of America. And I really like it's based on a theme that was first articulated to me by Eric Sloan. And what he wants to do is replace this word patriotism, which was just bandied about politically all the time, and especially in Eric Sloan's time, was sometimes used to force people to support policies they don't like. What he wants to replace it with is what he calls the spirit of respect, which is to honor our founding fathers and the institutions they created, the causes for which they fought, and the way they are, in many ways, are benefactors, and all of our ancestors that have built this country systematically through the generations, and how we find ourselves just plopped into this world surrounded by blessings all around us, none of which we had anything with doing none of which we had anything to do with creating. And that should infuse us with a sense of awe and respect for the values, the people, the generations, the institutions that came before us, and show that sense of gratitude. So that's what he meant by the spirit of respect. Now, at Thanksgiving, it's a beautiful thing that America has this wonderful holiday. It really just belongs to Americans ourselves, which is to thank our neighbors, our friends, our institutions, and God for all the blessings that have come to us. We pause one day a year just to do that. It's not just to gobble up a bunch of turkey and stuff ourselves and watch football. It's to pause and be grateful for all the blessings that we have. If we have a little, we should be grateful. If we have a lot, we should be very grateful. But regardless of what we have life, for which we should be infinitely grateful every single day. So Thanksgiving is set aside just for that purpose. It was established in the colonial times after several hard winters, when they realized what deprivation was like. And then through hard work and persistence, getting along with their neighbors, through seeing a full season of growing, get to the end point, and then suddenly we're surrounded by bounty. And at that moment, you just pause, you say, thank you, God, for bringing me these beautiful gifts, and thank you for my beautiful family, and thank you for my beautiful community. It's a very simple message, but you know what? I suppose next to Christmas, it is the most popular holiday. It's not on the religious calendar. It's on our civic calendar, but it has also deep religious implications for our lives. That's coming up on Thursday. That can be a turning point for all of us to express our gratitude, respect, and thankfulness for all the blessings that are around us, and to rally around the values and practices that make those blessings possible.
You know, Jeffrey, I'm surprised. I didn't know you had such good advice on how to better a person's character. Thank you for sharing with us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about these important subjects.
All right, thank you. Climate activist Greta Thunberg has been banned from Venice for dyeing the largest canal in the city green. The water in Venice's Grand Canal turned bright green after demonstrators with the group Extinction Rebellion dyed it. During the demonstration, the group were wearing red gowns and their faces were painted white and were waving red flags with the emblem. The group confirms Thunberg was present during the demonstration. Extinction Rebellion said dyeing the canal was part of a nationwide protest that coincided with the COP30 climate conference in Brazil. The Telegraph is reporting that Thunberg is banned from Venice for 48 hours. The outlet says she and about 36 demonstrators were issued fines. The U.S. recently joined several other nations to push for an end to human rights violations in China. Just days later, pro-CCP groups harassed peaceful protesters in Australia. NTD's Melina Weisskopf has more.
The United States has joined a group of 14 other countries, including Australia, Japan, the United Kingdom, and a few others, in signing a statement to the UN calling for the immediate release of people who the Chinese Communist Party has illegally detained for exercising their fundamental freedom of faith. In the statement, the countries raised concerns that ethnic and religious minority groups, particularly Uyghurs, Christians, Tibetans, Falun Gong practitioners, and others, have faced targeted repression, including through separation of children from their families, torture, and the destruction of cultural heritage. The countries are pressing the United Nations to hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable in a meaningful way to combat this human rights issue. It comes just 1 week after the CCP illegally arrested nearly 20 leaders of Zion Church. That's one of the largest underground Christian churches inside of China. One of those leaders, Urza Jin, who's the founder of Zion Church, his daughter testified to lawmakers on Capitol Hill last week. She's urging U.S. leaders to do more to get prisoners of conscience like her father freed.
I'm sometimes indeed fearful. After all, I know that I seek to expose and hold account the second most powerful country in the world. Yet as a Christian, I believe that we are asked to take courage and speak truth, and that God who created heaven and earth will stand by our side.
This comes as a top Chinese Communist Party leader, Zhao Leiji, is visiting Australia right now. Zhao was the subject of a push for sanctions here in the U.S. last month due to human rights issues. Because of his high rank, he plays a lead role in the persecution of Falun Gong, a meditation discipline centered on aligning oneself with truthfulness, compassion, and tolerance. Amid Zhao's visit to Australia, a group of Falun Gong practitioners in the country peacefully protested, trying to call attention to the widespread persecution that he's engaged with, including forcibly removing organs from prisoners of conscience. While those protesters were holding banners shedding light on this issue, some members from a pro-CCP group by the name of Fuqing Association tried to block these banners from being seen and harassed protesters. One of the protesters, Cao Juxing, had his shirt ripped open by one of the members from the pro-CCP group. Another protester was hit in the head with the flagpole. This isn't a one-off incident happening in Australia. Anywhere Falun Gong has a presence, which is throughout much of the world, there are pro-CCP groups directed to harass and threaten them to try to export the CCP's persecution of the practice outside of its own borders. This was also a key focus in last week's hearing on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers and U.S. leaders are actively working to expose and stop the CCP's transnational oppression here in the U.S. and abroad. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
The Saks Fifth Avenue Light Show returned this holiday season. People came out in numbers, packing the streets to look at it. That story after this break.
I hear your SOS, your SOS.
On streets across America, young people are homeless, abused, in danger. Covenant House is helping young people with nowhere else to turn, but the need is overwhelming. Please call or go online now with your gift of $19 a month. You'll help provide hot meals, safe shelter, medical care, and love to more than 2,000 young people who sleep at a Covenant House every night. Homeless young people are afraid and alone. Your monthly donation right now will show them they are loved and safe.
I have no words to express how Covenant House changed my life.
Call or go online now and give just $19 a month. We'll send you this comforting blanket as a reminder of the difference you're making in a young person's life. Call or go online now to safeplacetosleep.org.
According to ancient Chinese medicine, purslane is considered a medicinal herb and is used to help lower cholesterol, improve vascular functions, and prevent diabetes. Perilla seeds can nourish the lungs and spleen. It is used to treat asthma and improve pulmonary functions. Puritang green vegetable omega-3 is made from purslane and perilla seeds from Hwangmae Mountain in South Korea. It contains over 90% of omega-3, 6, 7, and 9. The highest concentration possible without chemical additives. The soft gel is made of natural seaweed. It is 100% organic and vegan. Both adults and children can take it with peace of mind. Ancient recipes were passed down from heaven to bring prosperity and longevity. Puritang green vegetable omega-3.
The Saks Fifth Avenue Holiday Light Show returned this year after taking off last year, adding to the many holiday shows in New York City that entertain locals and visitors. NTD Sean Marshall has more.
The Saks Fifth Avenue Holiday Light Show makes its return for the 2025 winter season. Crowds came out to watch the display of lights, sounds, dancing, and a grand fireworks display right in Midtown Manhattan. People watched focused in awe of the colorful light display covering the Saks Fifth Avenue store.
It's excellent. They finally brought it back. They didn't do it last year. And now they finally brought it back. Different soundtrack, different theme, all diamonds and all that.
So you've been to them in the past. What did you think of this compared to the older ones?
Yep, it's tough to say. They change it up every year. Every year it's excellent the way they do it.
New York City is full of tourists just walking around and luckily find organized holiday events happening. And some know right where to look for all the best shows.
All the way from the UK to watch that Spennymoor, County Durham.
It's really nice. It's nice and bright. It reminds me of, holiday decor, so I'm excited to see it. I haven't been here in a long time.
Cold night didn't stop the public from viewing a popular holiday show favorite, one that many will return to watch again next year. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
A turkey named Gus is preparing for Thanksgiving much differently than millions of other turkeys across the U.S. As he trots along a more than 40-acre sanctuary in Colorado, he gets a pet or a hug or even a peck on the cheek.
So Love and Arms every year around Thanksgiving, we really highlight our turkey residents that you can sponsor. It's $25 and it helps provide them with some really exceptional care. Health care, it provides them with social and emotional care, food, veterinarians. For me, it's important because I understand turkeys love to hang out. They have complex emotions and complex feelings, and I have some pretty great relationships with turkeys.
Gus landed at the sanctuary after being pardoned by Colorado's governor in 2023. During the month of November, he and other turkeys at the organization get their faces featured on its website, along with their personality traits. Potential sponsors can then choose to donate. A $25 donation comes with a certificate, photo, and either a virtual or in-person visit. Since launching the program in 2022, Love and Arms has seen the number of sponsorships double every year. This year, they're on track to reach their goal of $18,000. The funds have helped pay for extending the turkey's outdoor pasture area and feed. Vet bills can sometimes cost thousands of dollars because of medical complications from factory farm experiences. China's Xi Jinping and Russia's Vladimir Putin reaffirmed their support for the Venezuelan regime amid increasing tensions in the Caribbean. More news after this break.
A performance that truly matters for each and every one of us. This is what you've been waiting for. Shen Yun. Get tickets now at shenyun.com.
Shop the Design Studio by Mathis Home for Black Friday savings on luxury designer furniture. Get factory authorized savings on all the top brands with heirloom quality pieces for every room in your house. Choose from our incredible in-stock selection or let our complimentary design staff help you create a custom look to match your own personal style for less than you ever imagined. Get unmatched luxury at the lowest prices of the year through Black Friday weekend at the Design Studio by Mathis Home.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth.
without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now, Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel